Hello everyone and welcome to 3Ps and Games. Once again, in this video I'm diving into my prediction for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. We got a lot to cover, so let's jump in straight away into what I expect to see. I'm going to talk about the hardware details, game reviews I expect, pricing announcements, and I've tried to put this as comprehensive as possible but also not so long. Don't want the video to be too long, so yeah. To start off with, I think I'm just going to break down what I think the format of the whole direct is going to be. I think the direct is going to be like about an hour, 1 hour, not more than 1 hour. I think over an hour going to maybe too much and a little bit boring. As someone that watches Game Awards and other showcases that last 2 hours up to 3 hours sometimes, it can get tiring. So yeah, I think just 1 hour is going to be enough. And they're going to start off this direct with a lifestyle video. I think what I mean by lifestyle video is going to be a video like how they announced the Switch in 2016. So a video like that. So we're going to see a couple of high energy situations. I'm going to expect to see young adults mostly, probably a couple of family around, but mostly young adults. I don't think we'll see too many children, mostly young adults. We'll see them in homes, cafes, and on the go. The focus will be on adults, especially in commuting, and other casual environments, rather than children. We will see some children, we'll see some family settings, but I think they will focus more on adults. So I think they will use this to showcase how the new Switch hints at how people will adjust, and give hints into new lifestyle, give a sneak peek at how it fits seamlessly into everyday life, just to show people how the mouse feature can work on every day, and just to give a good overview of the Switch 2 in everyday life, mostly for adults and family members as well. Then I think they will move on straight to hardware. Now hardware, Nintendo does not usually go into deep detail with hardware. I predict Nintendo will announce exciting upgrades like larger screen. Of course, you've already seen that the screen will be 1080p and maybe up to 4K while docked. There's been a rumor that the handheld screen will be up to 120 Hz. I hope it's up to 120 Hz, but I'm really expecting an LCD 60 Hz panel. I don't think there'll be an LCD 120 Hz panel. They are quite pricey, and Nintendo probably won't want to, go that far. They really want to ensure the cost of the model is kept low. I also think they will go with 256 gigs of internal storage. This is a substantial increase and improvement over the original Switch, making it more competitive, compared to the big HD brothers. I also think, they'll emphasize on the mouse feature. They'll show the mouse feature, and yeah, I don't know if there'll be a gimmick or not in this part, but I have a feeling we'll see another Ice Cube moment in this direct. For those who watched the Nintendo Switch January presentation in 2017, you understand what I mean. I think we'll see another Ice Cube moment in this direct with the mouse feature and whatnot. Yeah, so there'll be other things as well, new accessories. We see new pro controllers, a lot of accessories, and probably have talk about better HD rumble, because the HD rumble on the original Switch was not so good. So the PS5 came out and really eclipsed it. So I think we'll see better HD rumble and many other features that may come up. Then I think from there they will go on to software. I think this is where they will spend most of their time, and as usual, software is really the important thing when it comes to gaming. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, it's all fun and games, but software is the key thing, and I think Nintendo will really have a blast this direct. I think the theme of the software will be third parties are showing up strongly here. A lot of third party games I expect to show up here, and quite a large number of third party games I expect to show up here. Maybe they may not, maybe they may not show everything this direct because you want to announce everything and give away all your surprises. But I think we'll have a substantial amount here, and over the course of the launch window towards the end of the year, we'll see before November, we'll see lots of games being announced as well. So yeah, but speaking of first party, what games do I expect for first party? I think the first thing is, you already know there's a new Mario Kart coming out. I think it will be called Mario Kart 10, not Mario Kart 9. I expect we'll likely see a brand new 3D Mario. For Mario Kart 10 or Mario Kart 9, whatever, Mario Kart 10, I think that won't be a launch title. I think that will launch day one. All indications shows it's going to launch day one. 3D Mario, maybe a holiday title, or yeah, maybe that's a November, December title. And maybe Splatoon will come out, or maybe Animal Crossing tease. One of them will be teased, I think, or both of them will be teased this direct. But I think one of them will come out and it will be before the end of the year. Probably a new IP as well. I think Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will be a launch title for the Switch 2, and to be cross-gen launch title. And I think they will use that game to showcase, visual improvements over the original Switch. They may not really call it out because they don't want to downgrade the Switch, but I think they will use it to showcase, visual improvements over the Switch, and to be a launch title as well. So maybe 3D Mario towards the end of the year, November, December, new IP coming out within the summer, or Splatoon, Animal Crossing coming out September, October. Yeah, so I think they'll spread it around. They'll try and have a game every month as much as possible. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. So other games I think will show up for first party. We'll have Fire Emblem. I think Fire Emblem will show. There hasn't been a new core Fire Emblem in a while, so I think one will show. Additionally, I think we'll see Kid Icarus. I think we'll either see a Kid Icarus Uprising remaster, or remake or something, or a brand new Kid Icarus game. I think Sakurai would really want to take advantage of the mouse controls. He loves to try out new control schemes and whatnot. He's a game designer at heart, and I don't think he'll be able to resist the ability to make a game for Nintendo using the mouse controls, just like Kid Icarus. I think he will really do well, and I'm looking forward. Hopefully I can get to play Kid Icarus again on the Switch. One of my favorite games ever. It is the best dedicated handheld game ever made. I say it every time I can. Yeah, it's the best dedicated handheld game ever made. If you're thinking about a game that was made for a handheld, Kid Icarus Uprising is the best. But I digress. Moving on, third-party software. This is where I think Nintendo will show greatly. So I'm going to be going out to a lot of publishers here. I'm going to be mentioning plenty. So starting off with CD Projekt Red, I think we'll see Cyberpunk 2027 coming to Switch 2. It's a lock-in for me. I want to strongly believe that Nvidia will help CD Projekt Red optimize it for the Switch 2. That's a lock-in for me. It's gonna show. The second game I think gonna show is Elden Ring by Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco, they publish a whole lot of games on Nintendo system, so Elden Ring is surely gonna come. Elden Ring is DLC. Shadow of the Earth Tree will come. I think we'll also see Sparkling Zero as soon as possible. Those I'm locking them in. For EA, I strongly believe that we're going to see EA Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We're also going to see EA Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Those two games are going to be there. Jedi Survivor, I believe, is going to come because they worked on the PS4 ports like a year after the PS5 version was out. A lot of people were wondering why. I believe it's because there's a Switch version that has been in the works, and they were able to do a PS4 version as well. That is coming as well. Split Fiction, obviously, Split Fiction works well with the Switch. The Switch is inherently a co-op system, and it makes a whole lot of sense to ensure Split Fiction comes on the Switch. And of course, sports titles and many other games that they publish on PS4 that can run on the Switch. Maybe we'll also probably see Dragon Age Vanguard, and of course the game that didn't really do so well, but I think many people were hoping it would, Dead Space. I think Dead Space will see a new light on the Switch, as well as Dragon Age Vanguard. They may not really do monster numbers, but I think in the long run they will see some new life on the Switch too. So moving on to Square Enix. Square Enix, a lot of people have been saying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake will come to Switch, and I strongly believe those two games are coming to Switch. In fact, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Final Fantasy Remake, Final Fantasy 16, even Final Fantasy 15, I think, if Square Enix really wants to be serious, they will try and bring all the Final Fantasy games on the PS4, all the Final Fantasy games that they can to the Switch. I think they should do everything they can to bring Remake and 16 to the Switch 2. I don't think they should miss the opportunity. The Switch 2 should have those systems. I also think we may see a trailer for the first time for Dragon Quest 12. Dragon Quest 12 has not been seen or heard from in years. I think this would be a perfect opportunity to see Dragon Quest 12. So let's see. Another third-party publisher is, Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft will also show up strongly. Ubisoft may have a new IP for the Switch, but I think they will probably focus on bringing a whole lot of games to the Switch too. So, Assassin's Creed on the PS4, PS5, and PS4 3 and Xbox One generation. So Syndicate, Unity, Valhalla, Origins, Odyssey, all of them will come. I'm not sure if they will bring Shadows, but if they can, they'll probably bring Shadows as well. Due to the global illumination ray tracing, I don't know if Shadows would be a good fit for the Switch 2, though they have a path that doesn't include any ray tracing in performance mode, so it's possible they can tweak the performance mode that's included in consoles to fit the Switch 2 and maybe just run. Get skeptical because that one also runs at lower resolution, so I don't know how well that will happen, but if possible they will bring Shadows. But it's not really high on my list. I think they'll try and bring all the old Assassin's Creed games to the Switch 2. Far Cry, many of the old IPs on the PS4, they'll try and bring them to the Switch 2 as well. Try and get in those sales. I think it's a perfect opportunity to get in renewed sales from players that didn't get those games on the PS4 generation. I think it's a perfect opportunity to get a lot of sales, and I don't think third-party developers will miss those chance. Capcom as well will do the same thing. I think Capcom will bring Devil May Cry 5. The Devil May Cry series is already on the Switch up to Devil May Cry 3, so they will probably bring the remaining one, Devil May Cry 4 and 5 as well, to the Switch 2 to ensure that the series is complete. They'll bring the Resident Evil games on the PS4 as well, so 7, 8, Resident Evil 4. Yes, they were on the Switch through cloud, but I think they will bring native versions to the game as well. Also, I forgot to add, Square Enix will probably bring native version of Kingdom Hearts to the Switch as well, because the cloud versions don't really make sense, so we should probably see native versions of Kingdom Hearts games on the Switch too. But for Capcom again, I'm not sure we will see Monster Hunter or Dragon Dogma 2. Yeah, those games seem heavily built for ray tracing, so I don't think they would do well on the Switch 2. And performance wise, they don't perform well on high-end PCs, and even the PlayStation, like, performance is good but not so fantastic, so I don't believe those games will run well on the Switch 2, and I don't expect those games to show up on the Switch 2. But yeah, Capcom will bring anything that can run on the PS4, that has run on the PS4. They'll bring them over. Maybe games like Kunizagami, they'll bring that as well. They'll probably bring all those games that they thought could run but maybe had challenges with. Maybe they'll bring Remember Me as being forgotten, but maybe they'll remember Me and port it to Switch. Let's see. Yeah, interesting stuff. Microsoft, I think this is going to be a huge coming out party for Microsoft. Many people will be surprised, but I personally think Microsoft will have a huge coming out party. I think many of the rumored games, I think we'll see a lot of announcements here. It will be announced here first, because Switch is the Nintendo Direct is a huge marketing opportunity. I think it's probably one of the biggest marketing opportunity you can have, and I think this marketing opportunity will be a good way to have eyes on many game announcements. So for me, I think Microsoft will say, okay, we're going to release a lot of games. Let us use this format, let us use this avenue to bring out a lot of our games and announce it to the world. So of course, they won't do it in the PlayStation like a PlayStation event, like a state of play or PlayStation showcase. They won't do it in that event. Nintendo Direct is a good way to do it, and you cannot have trailers that have the PS5 logo and whatever on YouTube and whatnot, and blog posts. But for a marketing announcement, I think Nintendo Direct is the best place to do that. So what am I expecting from them? I think we'll see the Halo Master Chief Collection finally on the Switch 2, Flight Simulator, the Gears of War Collection, all 3 games that have been rumored that should be coming out this year. I think we may also see Starfield, Hellblade 2. I'll strongly expect Doom the Dark Ages to also have a date, because the Switch has had the 2 Doom games, Doom 2016 and of course Doom Eternal. So I think the Switch 2 will definitely get these games as well. So yeah, this Switch 2 will definitely get a lot of Microsoft games. So I think this will be a coming out party day for Microsoft. Anything can happen. I think anything can be announced. But any combination of these many games I've said. So of course, Call of Duty. I forgot to mention Call of Duty. Maybe Sekiro. Like anything Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft, anything will come out. So Activision probably will want to bring out Call of Duty, maybe some of the older Call of Duty games that were on the PlayStation 4, maybe Warzone, because Warzone was on PlayStation 4 as well. So probably Warzone to the Switch. I think bringing Warzone to the Switch will really help them. So I think they're really gonna go out of their way to bring in many games as much as possible to the Switch. So Diablo, of course, Diablo is gonna be coming to the Switch too. Many games will be coming to Switch 2 as well. So many games I think Microsoft will announce for the Switch 2, because they have opportunities to really expand that audience with the Switch 2. So anything from Activision Blizzard, Diablo, Call of Duty, I think those ones will show. We'll probably see a Switch 2 SKU for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 and 3+4, and many SKUs for other games as well. So yeah, so interesting times for Take-Two Rockstar. We're not going to see GTA 6. I don't think so. That will be a very fun miracle, but I think we'll see Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 1 has been out for a while. I've been playing it. Really fun game. So it makes sense that they prepare the audience for the release of Red Dead Redemption 2. Makes sense. Probably see Borderlands 4 and various sports titles, and maybe ports of other games that Rockstar feel they can bring to the Switch. Nothing too major. For Atlus and Sega, we'll probably see Persona Reload Remake on the Switch 2. We'll probably see Metaphor Refantasio on the Switch 2. We may see a Switch 2 SKU for Sonic Team Racing Crossworld. And maybe they'll look at any other Sonic game that they can bring to the Switch 2. But yeah, all the Sonic games are on Switch, so I don't really think we'll see anything Sonic related. Maybe the Sonic Frontiers team may have something new, but I think they worked on Sonic Generations, Shadow X Sonic and Shadow Generation, whatever. They are probably too busy with working with that, so they may not have anything new yet. So, but I may stand corrected. I'm not expecting a new Sonic game to show up at the Direct. In terms of indies, I think we'll probably see a good number of indies, but I don't think we'll have an emphasis on indies this time. Maybe when the launch lineup is coming up and they don't have so much, they will not start focusing on indies again. But I don't think we'll see too many indies in this Direct. So if I'm going to hazard a guess on which indies we'll see, I think we'll see Hades 2. I think we'll see the long-awaited Silk Song by Team Cherry. We've been waiting for that game for a while now, but I think this is the opportunity to see Silk Song. I know many people say, oh yeah, we all predict Silk Song, but it never shows. But I think this time Silk Song will show. And one final thing in terms of my prediction on third-party software, I have a feeling that Sony would have a couple of games here. Now that is a very far-fetched prediction, but seeing Hot Shot Golf and Patapon, I just think Sony may release other games. Maybe Gravity Rush 1 and 2 will show up on the Switch 2, or maybe we will see. I think Gravity Rush 1 and 2 may show up again, and maybe Bandai Namco will publish them again. So Bandai Namco is free to advertise them on the direct as well. So maybe those games. Though I think we will probably see Death Stranding, because 505 Games is putting Death Stranding everywhere they can put Death Stranding, so we'll probably see Death Stranding there. So it's not really a Sony thing, but I think Sony may publish Spider-Man 1 and 2 on Nintendo Switch too. So yeah, that's a out there prediction, but I think we may see a Sony game, a Sony published game, not Namco Bandai publishing a Sony game. I think Sony themselves publishing one of their key franchises on the Switch too, because yes, Namco Bandai has been publishing games, but they've mostly been publishing dead IPs or IPs that people nowadays don't really associate with Sony, or the brand relation is not as strong as it was years ago. Like Horse Struggle, not many people even know Sony makes that game. So yeah, it's yeah, I don't know how that will play out, but I won't be surprised. That's my out there prediction. That's my out there prediction. Sony will bring some things from PS4 and other generations to the Switch 2. Now I think the final section will be the Nintendo Online / pricing section. I think that will be the least fun part of the whole direct. So talking about pricing, so first of all, I think it'll be $400. Like, I'm leaning towards a single SKU. I think there will only be a single SKU. If there's going to be multiple SKUs, if there were going to be multi SKUs, I think we'll probably one for $450, and the $450 one may have a packing. The reason why I think it's going to be a single SKU, because Nintendo doesn't like giving games away for free. So packing games, at least this current Nintendo, packing games is something that they don't like to do. And yeah, unless they're going to charge you full price for it. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be more than one SKU, just one SKU. But if there was, I think it would be a $450 with a Mario Kart 9 packing. And the reason why I said that is because essentially, once you are so close to the PS5, or essentially the same price as the PS5 digital edition, you have to have something to justify why you're charging. And I don't think portability or mouse control is good enough, because you can just buy a cheap mouse and keyboard for PlayStation 5 and connect and use it anyway, USB mice, and they work. So I don't think that is good enough to be so close in price, be so far behind in power, and you don't have a packing game. That's my thinking. I don't know how the consumers will see it, but I don't think they will do that. So I think it's gonna be one SKU. It's gonna be simple, one model, and I think games are gonna be increasing to $70 as well. The system is gonna launch in June, I think late June, maybe June 16, late June. Mid to late June anyway. Pre-orders are going to open in May, so pre-orders are going to start in May. Yeah, so I think those are the key things. $70 pricing. They're going to see some accessory prices. I think people are not going to be happy with the prices of their accessories, so their controllers and whatnot, it's not going to go down well. People are not going to be happy with those, but they will probably see their controllers for $80 again, just like this time. And when people grumble, but what is what it is. Nintendo knows how to sell things, so they'll probably keep it that high. And regarding the Nintendo Switch Online, just to wrap up on that, I think many people were expecting an expanded, something to replace the gold points and Nintendo Switch Online voucher. I don't think anything's going to replace them. I think Nintendo is going to pretend as if those things never existed. But if they do replace them, I think it's going to be quite robust. Now, the only thing I'm leaning towards them doing is that they'll probably give GameCube games, have GameCube game on the NSO system. I think that's something again. And there was this idea. I was listening to the Kit and Kirsta podcast before. In the Kit and Kirsta podcast, they mentioned maybe backwards compatibility will be paid, and to get if you have backwards compatibility and it runs better, if the games on the Nintendo Switch run better on the Switch 2, you may have to pay $10 to access those patches and for it to get better textures or higher frame rates and whatnot. Yeah, I think that would be a ridiculous decision. I really don't think, after making people slog through what I consider weak hardware, and in a lot of games poor performance, you know, suddenly they have a better hardware and now you wanted to pay 10% now. Like if it was maybe during the PS4 generation where a lot of games that didn't really perform well but had unlocked frame rates, as soon as you put them in the PS5 they were performing fantastically well. A lot of games that maybe had difficulty locking into their 30 or 60 FPS frame rates, as soon as you put it into the PS5 it was working well, and that's the base minimum I expect from the Switch 2. Any other thing like maybe texture changes, graphical changes, you can charge $10. Sony charged $10. It's not bad. I paid $10 for Last of Us Part 2 remastered. I wanted the PS5 SKU, so yeah, all well and good. I'll probably pay $10 again for Horizon Zero Dawn, remastered. Maybe I haven't done that yet, but I did for Hogwarts Legacy. So it's one of those things. It's not bad. Hogwarts Legacy, I originally bought the PS4 version. I wanted the PS5 version because the PS4 version kind of look iffy on my PS5. So I paid $10 upgrade, even though it took them months for them to give that option. I think more than a year to give that option of it to available. I kept on requesting it from the community manager that they should put the option to upgrade to the PS5 version for those that bought the PS5 version, the PS4 version. So yeah, I paid $10. So yes, if Nintendo is going to give us better textures, a better looking and performing game for $10, that's fine. It's not a big deal. But if it's not significant and they want to just charge $10 for the game to just slightly run better, or keep its higher resolution if it has dynamic resolution or whatnot, no, that's not going to be making sense, and I think people will revolt. Not really revolt, just complain and grumble, and everybody will move on eventually. But for me that would be a stark betrayal after playing many games that don't perform well, don't look well on the system. But that's just me. So yeah, I think if they're gonna offer $10 upgrades, they may say it'll be free for those on subscription and whatnot. But so many things, I can't cover everything. This is just a quick video to say what I'm predicting for the whole direct. I was thinking that this may be a good opportunity to bring back 3DS and DS games. I think there may be a section, though it may be very difficult. I'm not so sure how they'll pull off DS and 3DS games, especially 3DS. Some games may be difficult to bring over. DS seems likely, but they are all they're both really difficult to do. I don't know how they're going to simulate the dual screen, but yeah. So I said increase in prices, everything you should see $70 games and whatnot. Yeah, so just to wrap up, this just wraps up my predictions. It's an exciting time to be a Nintendo fan. I hope we all enjoy watching the direct tomorrow. Yeah, so April 1st today. Happy new month to everyone. This direct is something everyone has been looking forward to for years now, especially me. I think today is the first time in a long while I started picking up my Switch, mostly due to Red Dead Redemption and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Before then, I barely touched my Switch for months, mostly just playing my PS5. But I've been getting into the Switch nowadays, especially since the Switch 2 was announced, and I think it's a good system. It was great when I had it. The Joy-Con issues were seriously annoying. I can't wait to trade this in when the Switch 2 comes out, if I'm able to get my hands on one. Eventually just trade my current Switch in for that and move on. So thank you everyone. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want more insights and more discussions in the gaming industry, stay tuned and keep it locked on the 3Ps and games. Thank you.